Good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight, we celebrate the achievements and inspiration of our Hall of Fame class of 2024 inductees. Before we begin, I have a few items to mention. The bar outside the auditorium will be open until 9:30. If you guys have not already, feel free to bring your drinks inside. The restrooms are also located outside as well. Please, if you have not, silence your phones at this time. For those of you who are experiencing the Hall of Fame for the first time, be prepared for a wonderful evening as we listen to stories of these exceptional Parkway alumni. But before we get to their stories, I'd like to introduce our MC for this evening. Randy Carricker is an institution in the St. Louis media, a distinctive voice heard for decades on talk radio that is instantly recognized by fans of all ages. Randy's extensive career includes hosting top-rated shows like The Fast Lane, Carricker and Stallman, Sports Open Line, and Opening Drive. He has a tremendous passion for sports, an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and an amazing mass appeal to sports radio listeners. Randy's a proud 1980 Parkway North graduate. Not only does Randy say his time as a Viking was great, but it made such an impact that he ensured both of his children would attend Parkway North High School as well. Randy's no stranger to the Hall of Fame, as he is a member of the class of 2022. Please join me in welcoming this evening's MC, Randy Carricker.
Thank you, Kennedy. That's Kennedy Graff. She is the president of the Parkway Alumni Association. Doing great work. I know she said to silence your phone. She didn't say keep the phones off. I know there's several people that are going to keep me up to date on the Mizzou score. So we appreciate that. ZOU, there we go. This is a great evening, and as Kennedy mentioned, I had the honor of experiencing it a couple of years ago, and congratulations to all of the people that are being inducted into the Parkway Hall of Fame tonight. It's so well-deserved, and we have such an accomplished group of alumni at Parkway over so many years, and it's just great to have the people that are going in tonight being inducted. It is my pleasure now to welcome and introduce Sandy Rystel. She's the executive director of the Parkway Alumni Association, and she's going to share the story of our Parkway Alumni Association. Sandy.
Thank you and good evening. 30 years ago, several Parkway alumni recognized after a class reunion the special role that this district played in their lives. When creating the Alumni Association, the founders wanted an organization that would not only help graduates stay connected, but also provide a way for alumni to give back to the district. The Parkway Alumni Association is so much more than an ordinary alumni association. What started as a vehicle for gathering alumni contact information has grown to include educational grants, scholarships, not only for students, but also for teachers. And we do recognition programs for teachers, staff, and alumni. The Alumni Association also hosts events that build community among the graduates from all Parkway high schools. Much has changed over the years as the Alumni Association continues to grow and evolve. In addition to Trivia Night, we host an annual golf and alumni flag football tournament. These events provide financial support for the many programs the Parkway Alumni Association provides for the district, including Granting Dreams, the Albert Awards, the Light of Parkway, and Spark Pitch contests. The Alumni Association has expanded our program offerings. The one that really stands out is the Susie Zucker Essman Educational Grants for Parkway Teachers. Susie was a North 81 graduate and a 2008 Hall of Fame inductee who had a passion for education. To honor her memory, her family created a grant opportunity for Parkway teachers that would allow them to enhance their classroom curriculum. They have awarded over $15,000 to Parkway teachers in the past 3 years. When donors approach us with ideas that enhance educational opportunities for Parkway students, we work with them to fulfill their wishes. The Cerruti Family Foundation offers 2 scholarship programs. One is for 6th grade students to help offset the expenses of the outdoor school program. They also provide scholarships to Parkway teachers continuing their educational journey in advanced degree programs. The Ron Edwards Scholars Fund provides funds to purchase books for every child who attends Riverbend Elementary School. But I must say that my favorite donation this past year was from a couple who graduated from the Parkway North in 1974. In celebration of their 50th class reunion, they made a $10,000 donation to the Alumni Association. The only restriction they had was that the funds shall be designated and applied for the sole purpose of promoting the educational experience at Parkway North High School. So Parkway North Principal Dave Jones and I have had a lot of fun distributing those funds this year. A few years ago, the Alumni Association partnered with the Youth Bridge Community Foundation. The partnership allows donors to establish a fund at the endowment level of $20,000. Because these funds generate income, they live on in perpetuity while providing annual funding of programs that are near and dear to the hearts of the donors. These endowed funds provide scholarships, Granting Dreams Awards, and many other opportunities for the Parkway community. Interacting with over 80,000 Parkway graduates around the world is a fairly daunting task. In order to increase awareness about the Alumni Association and what's happening at the Parkway School, we send a monthly electronic newsletter and continue to share information on social media. I encourage you to visit our website. It's listed in your program to find out how you can connect, reunite, participate, and most importantly, find out more about the ways to enhance the educational experience for future Parkway scholars. So enough about the Alumni Association. Let's continue this evening. Randy?
Thank you, Sandy. And it's especially in this town where the first question always is when you meet somebody is, yeah, so we're so thankful that you take the time and provide the energy to bring us back and make sure that we're all Parkway people forever. We really do appreciate it. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the president of the Parkway Board of Education and Parkway West 1987 grad, Jeff Todd. Jeff.
Thank you all. It's so great to be here tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to greet you and welcome you, and thank you for being here to recognize these amazing individuals as they join the ranks of the Parkway Alumni Hall of Fame. You gave a great synopsis of the Alumni Association and the great work it does, but it leaves me with not a whole lot of things to say. But I will share personally how I've been affected by the Alumni Association. And it's been a couple of years since I graduated. But back in the 90s and the early 2000s, when my classmates and I were planning our high school reunion, Jan was instrumental in helping us find people that had disappeared from our lives. And then when my own kids got involved in elementary school and middle school and high school, they participated in the Granting Dreams program. And those were memorable times because even in elementary school, you know, we tried to empower them to make that effort to write their own grant, as simple as it may have been, and for, you know, as simple an opportunity it was, in our eyes, it was a huge deal for them. And to be awarded some dollar amount that contributed in large part to the experience that they really wanted to do. We didn't tell them that we'd probably pay for it anyway. But it really gave them a sense of pride in realizing that dream. So that was something that we couldn't give them that experience at the same level that they experienced from the gifts of the Alumni Association. And then as an adult, beyond that, once I joined the Board of Education, there have been many times where I have been participating in either the Granting Dreams program, seeing other kids, you know, hundreds of kids every year that get dreams granted, seeing teachers be awarded scholarships, seeing many of our staff members being awarded Lights at Parkway, and all of the different ways that the Alumni Association recognizes the people that do the work in our schools each day is such a meaningful thing to see as someone on the Board of Education. And I'm proud to say that when I joined the Board of Education, I was the only person on the Board of Education that was a graduate of Parkway, and we now have 3 board members who are graduates of Parkway. So it's great to share those experiences when we're talking with boards across Missouri and hear stories about how they grew up in their schools and now they're serving in their local communities. So the Alumni Association really does some amazing work, and as Sandy said, 80,000 strong. We believe we're one of the largest, if not the largest, alumni association of any K-12 school district in the country. So we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot of things to be proud of tonight, which we're going to be celebrating soon. So enjoy the evening, and thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jeff. And as our honorees wrap up their speeches, they will not only pose with Jeff, but with Superintendent Keith Marty. They'll get their trophies and get some photos taken. Before we start the introductions of the new Hall of Fame class, we wanted to give you a brief history of our district, the Parkway School District, the Alumni Association, and one of our premier events, the Association's Hall of Fame, which we're here at tonight. There's no one better to do that than Jan Mizuraka. Almost every phase of Jan's life has the word Parkway in it, from starting kindergarten at Parkway's Ross Elementary School to graduating from Parkway North, then on to being a Parkway parent, Parkway PTO president, and then a Parkway employee. And now, best of all, Jan is a Parkway retiree, but still a Parkway resident and a supporter of the Parkway School District. Jan has recently received many awards for her work in Parkway and in the community, and she was named a Pillar of Parkway in 2003, received the Parkway Alumni Hall of Fame Award in 2008, and most recently was named the 2017 Chesterfield Citizen of the Year for her work on designing and fundraising and building the Chesterfield Veterans Honor Park. Will you join me in welcoming to the podium Jan Mizuraka? Jan?
Hello. I'm going to try to shorten it as much as I can because I know we really want to get on to this fun part. But we'll start with Al Burr. During his 55 years in education, Dr. Burr made differences for a multitude of students. Without ever taking his eyes off the focus of the students, he led, motivated, and inspired teachers and educational leaders throughout the United States, Canada, Bermuda, and the Virgin Islands with all kinds of upbeat strategies on connecting with students. Although he's no longer here, I'm chosen to do this, to tell the history. This is the history he told at the first Hall of Fame, which was exactly 20 years ago. It all began in 1954 when 5 little elementary schools, Barrett's, Manchester, Mason Ridge, Weber, and Fern Ridge, which was then an elementary school, united to form the Parkway School District. They did this so that the students from these schools could have a good local high school. Prior to that, once you finished 8th grade in Parkway, you had to see where in the city had an opening, and that's the high school you went to, and you had to figure out how to get there. So big change. Just imagine the courage that those parents and the visionary Parkway citizens had to consolidate 68 square miles, that's bigger than the city of St. Louis, into one school district. They did, and the intention was to have a good high school. Their original intent was just to be good, because they didn't have anything else at that point. This has been maintained with vigor by Parkway parents, citizens, and educators now for over 70 years, and it's been better than good. In the fall of 1957, on the site where Central Middle School is located, was Parkway Junior Senior High School because it was 7 to 11. They didn't start with 12th graders that first year. 30 teachers, 1 counselor, 1 librarian, 2 secretaries, 4 custodians, and 595 students. It was a small building. So a little bit about that first year. The opening of school was delayed several weeks because the building wasn't finished. There was no cafeteria the first year, and now we're going to show your age by how many of you remember infrared sandwiches. Those were for lunch, or you could bring your lunch. You ate in the classroom. There was no gymnasium. There was a full athletic schedule, though. In the fall, the football team took cold showers inside a little 4-walled structure outside with a garden hose over the top. The band and vocal music groups crowded into regular classrooms. The band had no uniforms, and they didn't march. But enough of the students owned horses that there was a riding arena and an equestrian club on campus, and they brought their horses to school. So this was just kind of an interesting little side note he gave. The outer walls of the classroom had a lot of glass because that was the style of the school. In the spring the first year, a dump truck loaded with topsoil crashed through the glass wall into room 501 during math class. Fortunately, nobody was seriously injured and no one gave a thought to a lawsuit. Another change. So even though there wasn't a gymnasium or a cafeteria that first year, there was a full-fledged functioning library, and that was a statement that academics will have the main focus in Parkway. On that day, the 30 junior senior high schools met for the very first time with the principal, Whitey Schubert. He told them they were good. He told them they were selected from a huge number of candidates. There weren't that many. They said they were the best prepared, the smartest, the hardest working, the most dedicated, and he kept telling them that, and they would make the best school in the country. Every day he found different ways to reinforce that, and they started believing it. Now, during the first year, they bought into that, and they really went for it. A home ec teacher named Ramay Healy summed it up best when she said, "We're standing in the mud and looking at the stars." Throughout the history, that's been the spirit of Parkway. That's the way of life for these teachers. Parkway's intent was to be good, and here are a couple of examples. In 1957, the Parkway Choir, directed by Jerry Galloway, presented a Christmas concert in the tiny Fern Ridge Gym. In 1964, 7 years later, they were at Powell Hall with the famous Bach Choir and parts of the St. Louis Symphony. In 1957, the football team was winless. They scored only 19 points to their opponent's 105 points. But in 1964, 7 years later, the football team, coached by Jack Wells, was undefeated and outscored their opponents 256 to 67. In 1957, this is what the yearbook said about the basketball team. Parkway's first basketball squad, coached by Mr. Irv Limer, shows great promise for the future, although there were no victories. In 1964, 7 years later, the Parkway basketball team won 23 and lost 4. And what happened academically was consistent with what happened in the activities and athletics. In 1964, over 10% of the graduating seniors received college scholarships to school that included Yale, Harvard, Northwestern, Washington University, the Air Force Academy. Parkway was on its way. In 1961, Parkway Junior Senior High split, with Parkway Junior High staying at the original school, Parkway Senior High moving to its current location. In 1968, Parkway Senior High ended up turning into Parkway Central, Parkway West opened, and then further down in 71, 72, the split sessions, for those of you that went into that, we had Parkway Central, and then we had Parkway North. That opened, the first graduating class was 73, and then Fern Ridge. So soon we had 5 outstanding high schools. Each high school had pride and contributed to the Parkway Pride, and they competed with vigor against each other, and they also supported each other. Each went their own way, but they remained under that Parkway umbrella. Each contributed to our pursuit of excellence. All of it sounds really good, but something was missing. There was a loose end, because upon graduation, each of the 5 high schools, kids went their own ways. There was no feeling of connection. Enter now the great connector, Mark Lincoln, Parkway North 76 grad, my class. He very successfully led the effort to unite Parkway graduates from all 5 high schools into one Parkway Alumni Association, and had the vision to really work to put this together. And they're hosting us tonight, and later on this evening, you'll hear from Mark too. So there you have it, 5 little elementary schools that grew into 5 high schools, 5 middle schools, and I think we have 18 elementary schools now too, and all come back together with one alumni association with over 80,000 people. So, during the first Hall of Fame, believe it or not, and you're going to be glad you're in this class, there were 51 inductees. And we had a little discussion because I said every one of them was going to get the microphone for a couple of minutes to say thank you, because they came from all over the world. We had 4 different countries represented. And in doing that, they all started talking. We thought they'd talk about their careers themselves. They all started talking about educators, coaches, parents, different people that really made a difference. Well, Al Burr's name was brought up a lot that night. Partially, he was at Parkway Central, then he was at Parkway West, and he was outstanding. But all the inductees got together afterwards and started talking to us and saying, we've got to give back. We've got to do something to give back. And that's how the Al Burr Educators Make a Difference Fund was formed. And in forming that, Al decided it should just be called the Educators Make a Difference Fund, because after he was gone, and he's been gone now since 2016, he said, people aren't going to know who I am, but we want them to still know educators make a difference. So along that goes for the Albert Awards, which are educators in their first 5 years making a significant difference and impact in the students' lives and really connecting. They get a stipend and the award each year. And then also the Teacher of the Year awards that the district chooses, we add a stipend to each of those awards. So now we're ready for a little video from Al talking about what the fund meant to him.
Let me tell you about something that makes my heart pound with excitement. It was in 2004 when Parkway held its very first Hall of Fame induction ceremony. 51 Parkway graduates were selected from the over 60,000 graduates to be inducted. It was determined that each should be given time to tell about their accomplishments and their achievements. But the graduates didn't do what they were asked to do. They decided one by one that they wanted to talk about some teacher, some counselor, some coach who had made a difference in their life. The Al Burr Fund has 2 purposes. One is to provide an avenue for anyone to recognize a teacher who made a difference in their lives. And the second is to identify, to recognize, to honor, to promote, to inspire the present teachers to make a difference teachers. It's all about the kind of teachers that I wanted to be my whole life and the kind of teachers that I appreciated the most.
The Al Burr Fund was developed to honor teachers who are making a difference. The common thread among these teachers is the positive connections they make with their students. The programs of the Al Burr Educators Make a Difference Fund support, inspire, and recognize Al's educational philosophy, the philosophy that one teacher, one student, one day can make all the difference in the world.
Having students name this fund after me is the biggest honor I've ever received. It's the biggest honor anyone could ever receive. Thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you, Jan, and that's really what it's all about. What an inspiration Al Burr is, and what an inspiration Jan is in explaining the history of the district and how we got to where we are. Tonight we celebrate the achievements and inspiration of 15 individuals, not 51. We won't be serving breakfast. That happened one time, the very first night of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. They had the same thing, and Vermeil talked, and you know how much Dick Vermeil talks. And they actually did have to order breakfast. It was kind of alarming. We have 15 individuals who will now be inducted among Parkway's greatest into the Parkway Alumni Hall of Fame class of 2024. You are truly going to enjoy hearing about and meeting these amazing members of the Parkway family and hearing their stories as well. While they may all have different backgrounds, these individuals share much in common, and tonight we celebrate some Longhorns and some Colts and some Patriots and some of my favorites, some Vikings as well. All have led purpose-driven, meaningful lives in ways which have prompted and contributed to the greater good of our society. They have fulfilled Parkway's expectations for excellence, and we're proud to usher them into our Hall of Fame. These inductees exemplify the mission of our district to ensure that all students are capable, curious, caring, and confident learners who understand and respond to the challenges of an ever-changing world. And isn't it changing every day? These are the people who are changing the world. I know you're all very excited to meet the inductees, so let's begin. Let's get this party started. As I call our inductees to the stage after a brief introduction, each will take a few minutes for remarks, and as I mentioned earlier, get your photo taken as well. Our first inductee of the evening, and these are going to be done in alphabetical order, is Dwayne Buckingham. Attending Parkway was a turning point for Dwayne. Growing up in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods in St. Louis, Dwayne was exposed to a different world when taking part in the desegregation program between 1989 and 1992. While at Parkway West, his school counselor helped Dwayne realize the possibility of attending college and creating a better life. Dr. Buckingham went on to earn degrees in social work and human services and has since made significant contributions through his roles in the U.S. Air Force and the Public Health Service. His innovative work includes founding the Empathy and Resilience Center and Buckingham Counseling Group. Dr. Buckingham's journey from overcoming adversity to leading impactful initiatives reflects his dedication to service, empowerment, and community improvement. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium and welcome to the Parkway Hall of Fame, Dr. Dwayne Buckingham.
All right, thank you all, thank you all. All right, good evening, Parkway alumni and esteemed guests. So I'm gonna ask that you all actually bear with me for a few minutes. I'm experiencing mixed feelings right now. Little anxious and little excited. Why am I actually anxious? I'm actually anxious because I didn't know what I was gonna say today. I'm also anxious because I knew I didn't want to take up a lot of time. And so I started getting anxious, say, well, I need to say something that's going to make an impact. So I start to feel anxious. But then I start to feel a little excited. And I felt excited because Sandy said to me, hey, Dr. Buckingham, this is your night. And do not worry about what you say or how you say it. No one's going to escort you off the stage. So you all are in for a long haul because I am not being escorted off the stage. So with that being said, I am truly, truly honored to actually be here. And before I share my remarks, I'd like to do a few things. And the first is to give praise to God. Because without God, I would not have the strength and the endurance to be standing before you all today. So I have to always give praise. The second thing I like to do is give thanks to three heavenly mothers, and I call them heavenly mothers because unfortunately they're not here to see me today. My biological mother passed when I was 17 years old. I was a junior at Parkway West, and my father passed when I was 10. But my heavenly mother, she's the one who gave me the gift of compassion, resiliency, and dedication. She was a bricklayer, and she cleaned bricks for a living and would often only make $100 a week just to put food on the table. So it would just be everything for me to say thanks to her, she's looking down up onto me. My second heavenly mother is Eugene Davis. She was my basketball mom who stepped in when my mother passed when I was 17 years old. And for the next 30 plus years, she took care of me. She did all the things that my mother, unfortunately, was not able to do after she passed. And so she took me in and took care of me. And so I have to give praise to her as well. And then my third heavenly mother is Miss Betty Breakbill. She was my high school counselor. I get emotional because she stepped in and she basically made sure academically that I was going to excel and get to where I need to be. So I like to say thanks to the three of them because I would not be here without those three powerful women. In terms of, yeah. And in regards to acknowledgments, I would like to acknowledge my coach, Bill Soderman. Parkway West, 1991 state champions. Thank you for being here. Miss Linda Soderman, his wife, who's also been there for me. I fell asleep at the steering wheel when I was driving to college, totaled my car. And Miss Soderman, she rounded up all the parents and said, hey, Bucky, that's what they refer to me as. He's totaled his car and he's crashed and he's in the ditch and he's depressed. And they got together and they sent me money to help me get forward and moving on. So thank you, Linda. Yes. And so, and last, I'd like to also acknowledge my sister, Cynthia Cross, who's been here. She's been there for me during every angle and turn of my life. And last but not least, my sister from another mother, Frances Breakbill, who's the daughter of Miss Breakbill. I'm standing here before because she nominated me. And so thank you for being here. Now, here are my remarks. To me, this recognition is not just a personal milestone, but it's a testament to the power of resiliency, community, and the belief that I was created to win. But if I would be honest with myself, and if I'm honest with you all, I would be lying if I told you that 32 years ago I knew I would be standing here. That would be a lie. And it would be a lie because I faced many challenges growing up. I was raised in the ghetto by my single-parent mother. My neighborhood was shabby and filled with men who sought power through violence and drugs and crime. I lived in an apartment complex without hot water and heat and nowhere to bathe. I shared my sleeping quarters with rats and roaches. And at age 7, I was teased daily because I had a speech impediment, and I repeated the 2nd grade, and I was made fun of. At age 8, I was shot in the arm by my mother's ex-boyfriend. At age 9, I saw my first dead body as a drug dealer was gunned down. At age 12, I witnessed police brutality as one of my relatives was beaten because he resisted an unlawful search. See, poverty, drugs, crime, and violence conditioned me and shaped my life. And it caused me to believe that I was a loser and that I would not mount to be anything. So when people ask me, Dr. Buckingham, what major life event propelled you to success to where you would be able to impact the lives of others? And I smile and I humbly say, I enrolled in the Parkway desegregation program because my life changed when that program came about. And it changed in many ways because it did not just shape my life academically. Parkway was the place where barriers were being challenged from racial perspectives. Parkway was the place where success was the standard. And so I quickly learned that this was the place that I needed to be. The desegregation program opened up doors. It was through this initiative that gave me hope to think about something that was bigger and greater than myself. And so as I entered into Parkway West, many doors opened, but the door that opened that propelled me to be here today was this door called love. I was embraced by my coaches and the teachers and the counselors, and they saw me as not a problem, but as a child with potential. And so I want to share with you all 3 lessons that I learned while I was here at Parkway West. Lesson number 1, seek to understand others and celebrate differences. One of my teachers basically said to me, when I was in the middle school, I was in the 7th grade and I was supposed to be in the 8th grade. And I was so embarrassed because all of my friends were in the 8th grade. And so when the bell would ring, I would actually run and get to the other side where the 6th and 7th graders were, because I was in the 7th grade and all my friends were in the 8th grade, and I was embarrassed. And I would always get in trouble. I would show up late for the class. And one day the teacher said, look, I'm tired of this. You're disruptive. You keep coming to my classroom. What is this about? And she sent me to the principal. And so this lesson that I learned about seeking to understand, when I get to the principal says, help me understand what's going on with you. And I started to cry. I started to cry because that was the first time the person asked what's wrong with me and didn't chastise me for the behavior. So one lesson that I learned, that if you want to impact lives, seek to understand people. And that's the first lesson I got. The second lesson that I learned was that you nurture individuals despite their circumstances. When we're talking about nurturing, Miss Betty Breakbill said, Dr. Buckingham, I know that you have a dream, or Dwayne, you have a dream to be a doctor. So we're going to nurture and we're going to foster that dream, and I'm going to push you. And before you know it, I was off to Jackson State University to become the first doctor in my family. So lesson number 2 is to nurture dreams. Because inside of the dream, there's potential that is waiting for someone like me who has experienced poverty, but was going to become a doctor who was serving in the United States Air Force and take care of our wounded soldiers from all around the world, because she nurtured a dream. Lesson number 3, legacy is not about who you are. It's about who you impact. So when I think about who impacts me, we're talking about we should all strive to create a legacy. And when I think about legacy, I think about Coach Soderman, because he gave it all to us on and off the basketball court, because he helped me understand that life is not about you. It's about the impact that you have and what you leave for people to grow as a result of you. So legacy is not about you, it's about the impact that you have. And finally, I would say the 4th lesson that I learned at Parkway West is that love always prevails in the end. I'm standing here before you all today because my sister, Frances Breakbill, said, hey, I love you, little brother, and I think you have a story to tell, and I think you should share it with the world. So I stand before you today because Frances said, out of love, would you do this for me? And through love, I stand here to share this story because she loved me enough to nominate me when I didn't think that I needed to be nominated. So I would encourage for the rest of us, as I'm a doctor, I've served in the military, thousands and thousands of people, but Parkway was my foundation. And so I'm so full today, and not talking about from food. I'm so full today because this is the place that set the foundation for me to become Dr. Buckingham. So I thank all of you all. I thank the association. I thank all of my Parkway West family. Thank you for this honor. I'm humbled, and this is a victory for all humanity, because my quote tells me, resilient people find solution in problems. In contrast, troubled people find problems in every solution. I'm the solution, so thank you all.
Congratulations, Dr. Buckingham, and we've already used the word inspirational a couple of times tonight, and now we've got another example. What a great inspirational story Dr. Buckingham has, and welcome to the Parkway Hall of Fame. Our next inductee is Julie Sparks Gibbs, who I believe will have our first Mizzou update of the evening. Julie has carved out a distinguished career in philanthropy and community service, beginning with her leadership at Parkway Central. After earning her journalism degree from Mizzou, she worked her way up to become the director of planned giving at the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. Her distinguished career includes transformative roles at the United Hebrew Congregation, where she spearheaded key development initiatives, and the Jewish Community Center, where she drove record-breaking fundraising campaigns. At the Jewish Federation of St. Louis, Julie developed pioneering programs and expanded support through her leadership as the Director of Women's Philanthropy and Vice President of Development. Her recent return to the SLSO as Vice President and Chief Philanthropy Officer, along with her influential role at the JCC, underscores her extraordinary commitment to community enrichment and her remarkable legacy of service. It is my pleasure and my honor to welcome to the Parkway Hall of Fame, Julie Sparks Gibbs. Julie?
Thank you. When I'm supposed to tell you the score, Ron?
Yeah.
The upper.
What?
Okay, it's a down from Missouri. So thank you so much for this honor. I'm really glad to be here. And that was a really hard act to follow. That was very inspirational. So for my anxiety, I had to write everything out. Well, I'm now working in philanthropy at the Jewish Community Center. At one point in my fundraising career, I had the unique opportunity to work for and travel with the Jewish Federation on a trip to Israel. This trip included a stop in Greece first to see our work in action. I was on a bus with women's philanthropy professionals and lay leaders, and our tour guide asked us what seemed like an obvious question: what does philanthropy mean? I thought that was an odd question to ask fundraising professionals. Of course, it means giving back. But then I learned that the Greek root actually means love of humankind, love of people. I almost jumped out of my seat. That is why I love what I do. I love people. And when you combine the love of people with passion for a mission, magic happens in philanthropy. You may ask, what does this have to do with Parkway? Looking back, my deeper love of people began at Parkway Central High School. Don't get me wrong, I always liked people a lot, but my family moved from Chicago to St. Louis right before my junior year in high school. I had a lot of friends in Chicago, but moving at that age forced me to be much more outgoing than I previously was. I not only valued every new friend I made, many who I'm so appreciative are here tonight, I also soon became the social organizer of the group, or rather groups, even with the DeSmet guys. That way, I always had plans. I brought everyone together, the more the merrier. Bringing people together and creating community is something that has stuck with me today, both personally and professionally. I love a good gala or an event like this. Parkway Central had a wonderful way of fostering a sense of community. I vividly remember loving the feeling of walking into Parkway Central. It had cheerful red carpet. It was really open. Everyone was super friendly, and it had a lot to offer. I credit a lot to Parkway Central for not only being solid academically, but also encouraging the importance of being well-rounded. They made it easy to get involved, play sports, and school spirit was palpable. They also offered real-life work experience. I was active in both the yearbook and the school newspaper. Thank you to Mrs. Boyle for being that special teacher who believed in me and fostered my love for journalism. It was so much fun learning to collaborate, communicate, work as a team. It was also gratifying to take pictures, get the scoop, and learn the art of telling a story. That not only translated well for a degree in journalism, but served me well as I fell into a career in philanthropy. On a personal note, through me being honored tonight, I would like to in turn honor one of my first and best friends from Parkway Central, a fellow colleague from the PCH yearbook, The Spur, and newspaper, The Corral, Marcy Radman Bluestone. She was a talented photographer who later channeled her creativity as a decorator. Marcy recently passed away after a 3-year battle with pancreatic cancer. She embodied positivity, creativity, and one of my favorites, philanthropy, both giving back and the love of people. Thank you, Parkway, for such a positive experience for us all. It's amazing how even 2 years can have a lasting impression with lifelong friendships, providing a platform for our careers, and creating community even 40 years later. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie, and congratulations. Yes. Oh, gotta have that. So Julie's husband, Ron, is a former, you're president of the Tiger Club of Greater St. Louis, right? So that's how I got to know Ron over the years. Mizzou's losing, right? Okay, so just wanted to get that out there. Our next inductee is Lori Jacob, a 1984 Parkway North graduate, and she built an extraordinary career dedicated to empowering young people through education. After starting with junior achievement in 1987, Lori's passion for making a difference quickly became evident. Rising through various roles, she assumed the CEO president position in 2007, where she has since transformed the Greater St. Louis chapter. Under her leadership, junior achievement now reaches over 130,000 students annually across Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, making it the third largest chapter in the nation. Lori's innovative initiatives, like the Junior Achievement Trades Van, reflect her commitment to equipping students with essential financial literacy and career skills, ensuring that they are prepared for the future. It is my pleasure and my honor to welcome Lori Jacob to the Parkway Hall of Fame.
And I'm a Parkway North Viking, yeah. Okay, I was one of those students who absolutely loved high school. Anybody else out there? My kids think I'm nuts, but I really did love it. And we actually, with my class, just had our 40th class reunion. There's like 350 classmates in 1984, and we had over 100 show up. We are a very close class and incredibly blessed to still be friends. I have a huge group text of friends. We go out, we connect. So Parkway has meant a lot to me for the friendships. That's one big piece. But Parkway actually had a lot to do with the path I've taken in my life. And with junior achievement, I want to ask, have any of you ever been involved with junior achievement? Your kid, your grandkid? I want to see your hand. Yes! I love it. I love it. If you have not, you need to come check out our 39,000 square foot facility in Chesterfield. And it's an experiential learning center where students are actually involved in being prepared for their future. For example, we don't want our young people getting out into the world making financial decisions that are going to, bad ones, that are going to hang with them and take years and years and years to get out of. So financial literacy, work readiness, we help young people at Junior Achievement align with jobs that fit their interests. And 98% of our JA alumni, according to a study by a team at Washington University, 98% of adults who are in junior achievement are satisfied with their jobs. It is a big deal. And the team at Washington University are like, wait, that doesn't even make any sense because the national average is below 50%. What are you guys doing? So we're helping young people understand, here are your interests, here are the jobs that align. And another big piece is we align role model volunteers to work with students in pre-K all the way through high school. So that role model has a big influence on the individuals, just like our teachers at Parkway had an influence on us. And in this study, 1 out of 3 of our alumni ended up working in the same job as their volunteer. I know, so the impact that we're having is huge with junior achievement. Last year, we reached over 173,000 students, and we continue to grow. We have a big program we're building in jobs and trades. Oh my goodness, you can make a lot of money working in a job in trades, and I think there's misconceptions out there that an auto mechanic makes $23,000 a year. They make over $100,000 even the first year employed. So there's really good jobs out there. We're helping young people have confidence and the upward shift in social mobility, the upward shift in getting out of poverty. There's a cycle of poverty, and we are making a difference with that. And you know what? It's not me that's getting all of this done. It's our team at Junior Achievement. We have a lot of our team members here, so let's give them a round of applause. They're amazing. It's a whole team. We like each other. We have fun. God has blessed me in so many different ways. The work that Parkway is a big part of my life still today. The role models I've gotten through Parkway. And it's interesting because I have a role model today who is my role model, Dr. Keith Marty, who is on our board of directors with Junior Achievement, a great friend. And you've been a role model to me, so I really appreciate everything that you've given to me. So a quick little story about how Parkway has made a difference. So with Junior Achievement, we raise funds, we recruit volunteers, we connect the business and education community together, and we're making a difference in lives and their future. So when I was at Parkway, I ran for student council. I have no idea why, and I made it, which was kind of cool. And then they tell me my job is to raise money for a fundraiser. Well, nobody wanted to do that. And I don't even know if my role was supposed to do it, but I'm like, okay. So I'm supposed to go out and raise money for a big cause for kids. And I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, Mom, it's kind of scary. I think I'm going to have to walk into businesses and ask them for financial support. And she goes, what's the worst that could happen, Lori? And I said, they'll say no. She goes, can you live with it? I'm like, yeah, I guess I can. And so I've stuck with that. That's a great line. Can you live with it? So here I'm all grown up, been with Junior Achievement 37 years. And what I do for a living is walk into businesses and ask them for financial support. So thank you, Parkway. So my 2 greatest accomplishments, Diana and Jason, my 2 kids. So will you 2 stand up, please? Diana and Jason, please stand up. I need to see you. They are the light. You guys are my sunshine. So I love you guys so much. My family, I am so incredibly blessed with an incredible team to work with. We like each other. We have fun. And, you know, I wouldn't be doing this job for 37 years if I didn't have fun with it. But I'm very blessed to be part of Parkway. I'm very blessed to be a Viking, right? Thank you so much, and God bless. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations, Lori. That was great. Our next inductee is Karen Johnson. There we go. Parkway South alum from the class of 1983. And Karen has built a distinguished career in public administration as the Chief Deputy Executive Director of Operations at Covered California. She leads strategic initiatives across administrative services, financial management, and IT. Karen's role involves shaping policies and ensuring smooth operations for the health insurance marketplace. Before joining Covered California, Karen made notable contributions as Chief Deputy Director at the California Department of Healthcare Services and as the Deputy Director of Administration for the California Board of Equalization. With her accounting expertise and a degree in business administration from St. Louis University, Karen's blend of practical experience and leadership continues to drive innovation and excellence in public health administration. It is my honor and my pleasure to welcome to the Parkway Hall of Fame, Parkway South grad, Karen Johnson. Karen?
Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. So, it's really an honor, and really want to thank the Alumni Association and the selection committee for this recognition. I'd also like to thank my family and friends who are here tonight to help support me. Thank you. My education journey started with Parkway School District at Sorrento Springs, Hannah Woods, and then Parkway South. Patriot. Mr. Howard and Mr. Bell, I want to call them out. They were at Hannah Woods. They were instrumental in my career. They were really attentive, they listened, and they had genuine concern for each individual student beyond the group of students. They cared about our success, and they also had attentive listening. Also, I want to thank my English, math, and history teachers for providing me with the skills in terms of critical skills, problem solving, that really transferred helping in my career today. So I also joined the swim team. In 1980, I was the Missouri State champion on the 100-yard butterfly. Thank you. And what it taught me was really hard work from Coach Nate Wolf. It was dedication, commitment, also to continuous improvement in my swimming. I feel like how we were able to accomplish our mission is also directly impacted in terms of how we connect with one another as people, fostering solid relationships, and how effectively we lead and manage change. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working for several governors appointed by Governor Schwarzenegger and serving under the Davis administration, leading major organizations in excess of $100 billion, modernization efforts, combating massive fraud, working with the Attorney General's Office, Department of Justice, FBI, OIG, and also reducing the rate of the uninsured in healthcare in California from 17.1% to 6.4%. Thank you. Also addressing cybersecurity issues, deploying resources for public health emergencies, and now introducing artificial intelligence into the workforce. As I conclude my service, public service of nearly 4 decades, I'm reminded of a chapter that closed nearly 42 years ago here. The teachers, the principals, the faculty who sent me off at that day when I graduated, all who modeled the way in terms of excellence and inspired us to do our best. You never know who's watching and who you are impacting. I was recently contacted by a former employee whose children attended Bring Your Child to Work Day, an event that I sponsored. Their children at the time was 4 and 7. He learned about my retirement and wanted to know when my last day of work is, so that he and his children, now 24 and 27, could come and see me off on my next chapter. May I have left a legacy and a mark as all of the teachers and the faculty members of Parkway School District, and boy, has it been an incredible privilege. And with that, as I reflect on my path, I'm grateful for this recognition provided by Parkway School District, unwavering support by my mom and dad who are here tonight, and my family, and unwavering support by them to make this all possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Congratulations, and congratulations on your retirement as well. Enjoy. Our next inductee is Dan Cobolt. Unfortunately, he is not able to join us tonight. Dan exemplifies the extraordinary fusion of science and storytelling. After earning degrees in computer science and French from the University of Missouri and a master's in biology from Washington University, Dan embarked on a career that spans both groundbreaking scientific research and imaginative literature. As the Director of Biomedical Interpretation and Training at the Institute for Genomic Medicine, he's made significant contributions to understanding and combating diseases like cancer and diabetes. Simultaneously, Dan has captivated readers with his science fiction and fantasy works, including the Gateways to Elysia trilogy. His unique blend of scientific expertise and creative flair highlights the remarkable potential of pursuing one's passion for diverse fields. We have a video from Dan upon his induction into the Parkway Hall of Fame.
Hello, I'm Dan Cobalt, Parkway West class of 1998, and it is truly an honor to be inducted into the Parkway Alumni Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank the Alumni Association staff and volunteers. I'd also like to thank my friend Mark Nevels, also West class of 1998. He's my best friend. We lived together in college. He introduced me to my wife, and just when I thought, man, I can't owe this guy anymore, he goes and nominates me for something like this. I wish that I could be with you in person, but as you're watching this, I'll be giving a presentation in Denver to my human geneticist colleagues about how we can use genetic technologies to improve health outcomes for pediatric patients who have rare diseases. The path that led me to where I am today actually started back in high school at Parkway West. I was really fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. In the late 90s, the Genome Center down at WashU was a key player in this massive scientific endeavor called the Human Genome Project. I remembered reading about it when I was in high school and thinking, man, it would be so cool to work on the human genome. And in what seemed like an unrelated coincidence, in my junior year of high school, Doc English decided to teach a new class on computer programming, which I took and I really enjoyed. So a few years later, when I was in college and flailing to find a new major, I remembered Doc English's class. And I thought, maybe I'd try computer science. 10 years after my high school graduation, I joined the Genome Center at WashU as a scientist. The human genome is 3.2 billion bases long, but with modern technology, we can sequence it in about 48 hours. And we're sequencing at our hospital hundreds of patients per year. Each of them has a 3.2 billion base genome, and you know what comes in handy? Computer science. When I was a senior in high school, I took AP English under Mr. Ribbing in one of his final years of teaching. It was not an easy class, but he challenged us to become better readers and writers. And that has served me well throughout my career. I even took up this hobby of fiction writing. And 15 years after that class, HarperCollins published my first book. This one here is book number 8. It's funny how often in life things come full circle. Not long ago, I was coaching my son's Little League soccer team, and one day at practice, we were doing these drills, and I thought, man, I am working these boys today. And I wondered, am I working them too hard? But then I remembered back in high school cross country, Coach Shepard worked us pretty hard. We'd be on lap 14 of 15 or something, and Coach would say, if I could give you a pill to make you feel like this and then have you run that last lap, I would. Unfortunately for my soccer players, they still haven't invented that pill, Coach, so sorry. One last little anecdote I'll share about things coming full circle. The other night I was helping my teenage daughter with her algebra homework, and it was intense. She had to use a method called completing the square to solve these quadratic equations, and she was kind of stuck, so I was trying to help her. And I remembered enough of my high school math to do it. We were working through the steps together, but we were working on this problem. We got to the end, and I was pretty proud of myself because she and I got the same answer. But then I said, I don't think this is right because it means that x equals the square root of negative 13, and that's impossible. You can't have a square root of a negative number. And she said, oh, don't worry, Dad. I'll just represent it as I. And I said, I? What is I? She said, Oh, that's for an imaginary number. I forgot to tell you, we're learning about quadratic equations with imaginary numbers. When high school students take advanced math classes, you often hear them say, "This stuff is ridiculously hard. Why do I have to learn this when I am never going to use this again?" And the answer to that is simple. 25 years from now, you're going to sit down with your own teenager to help them with their homework, and that is when you're going to use your high school math. With that, I will wrap up and say one more time that it's a sincere honor to be inducted into the Parkway Hall of Fame. Thank you so much.
And Dan mentioned Mark Neville in his speech there accepting the award on Dan's behalf is his good friend and his nominator, Mark Neville. Mark?
Well, I'm obviously not Dan Cobalt, but I'm also a Mizzou J School graduate, so I like to write. So I've got a couple of quick things, which we already saw a video, so I'll keep it very brief. I think it's always interesting to come to events like this because we heard an awesome history from Jan about how Parkway came from humble beginnings, came together, but then there's a lot of things that still unite us. One of the few common themes I've seen so far, starting with Dr. Buckingham, is it might not be what you might think traditionally would be an impact on someone like a teacher. Sometimes it's a coach. I've heard two different coaches now, and Dan mentioned Coach Shepard as one of the formative parts of our high school beginnings. And looking back, in my experience, that's where Dan and I, even though we have vastly different careers, we had a common beginning. And school is hard. Trying to make friends is hard. And when we joined the cross-country team together, Coach taught us three things, and he did it for years. Number one is be the best athlete you can be while you're here. Number two, make exercise a lifelong habit because exercise is cheap medicine. And number three is be a contributing member of society. And so what Coach did was create a safe space for friends to make friends, people to be what they were, separate from trying to meet girls, trying to, all the things that stress you out about high school. Once the bell rang at 2:40, we could just be ourselves, get into fitness, get to know each other. We had an instant group of friends, and that was what I was introduced to. That's how I met Dan. That's how I met some of my best friends to this day. And that's what brings people together, and that goal of being a contributing member of society is what you see. It's the foundation that everyone needs. Dan always speaks highly of his roots at Parkway and how the education and values that he received helped shape the person he is today. He'd like me to thank his former teachers, mentors, family, friends, and Coach Shepard, who played such a formative role in his journey. And though he can't be here, I know he's deeply honored to join this incredibly prestigious and diverse group of alumni, and he looks forward to continuing to give back to the community that has given him so very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Our next inductee is John Cruson. From the world of improv theater to cutting-edge technology, John Cruson has seamlessly blended his passions and talents. Starting with his early involvement in improv at Parkway West, he went on to study theater at Lindenwood University and fulfilled a lifelong dream with an appearance on Saturday Night Live. Alongside his entertainment career, Cruson pursued software development and earned an MBA from Maryville University. In 2016, he founded Sketch Development Services, which has since become a leading firm in St. Louis. Cruson's innovative The Agility of SNL presentation, which merges improv with tech solutions, is a testament to his unique approach. He remains deeply connected to the Parkway community, supporting students and initiatives through Sketch and Spark. It is my pleasure and my honor to welcome into the Parkway Hall of Fame, John Cruson.
Thanks. It was my understanding that we weren't going to use that picture. Some things fall through the cracks. I stand before you this evening as a result of some unfortunate loophole. I can think of 24 people that I graduated with in my row at graduation who should probably be here up here before me, but here we are, and ha-ha to them. Drew McAllister, I think I'm pointing your general direction. Thank you for doing this. This is, I understand there was a lot of effort that went into the nomination process. Apparently it's very rigorous and strenuous, and thank you. I also have to say thank you to my wife, Chrissy, who, to the extent that there is a resume to warrant being up here, we can only do this through the partnership that we have forged over the last 25, 30 years. Thank you, Chrissy. I love you. Did I say the part about the 24 people? Okay. Anyway, to say this is an honor is an understatement. I love Parkway West. I love this school. I was at dinner with with Chrissy and our boys when they broke the news that this thing was going to happen, and my reaction went down in family history as one of the most awkward things that's ever happened, because I honestly had no idea how to react to this. And I've been thinking about why I had such a strange reaction. I froze up like a tree. And I think when it comes right down to it, I feel like this whole thing is reversed. I feel like I should be the one presenting Parkway West with the Hall of Fame High Schools Award. So I came to Parkway West in 1988. My parents moved from Louisiana. So I started at Parkway in 8th grade. And I came from a school where most of the teachers hung paddles on the walls just to that's not a joke, to let the students know who was in charge. It was a school that prioritized and valued control over education. So to come to St. Louis and to Parkway West, and damn, I wish my mom was here to watch this unfold tonight, because moving to Parkway West, to the Parkway District, was very important to her, because education in general was very important to her. And coming to this school, it became immediately apparent. This is a school that actually values the learning part of the school. I was introduced to Count of Monte Cristo in 8th grade, and it blew my mind. We didn't get to do anything like that in Louisiana. We were still debating who won the Civil War. So this place, Parkway West, taught me how to learn, which I still to this day hold as the greatest skill anyone could attain. And to think about it, not just not to learn from a textbook, but to learn in a continuous improvement sort of a way. This is sort of what drove me towards software development, because software development is a continuous learning process. You have to gain the courage and the confidence to put something out into production that's not perfect, and that maybe nobody wants. But the only way you're going to find out if nobody wants that is to put it out there and find out, and then adjust from there, which bears a striking resemblance to sketch comedy. Yeah, so I have to thank Peggy Dersch as my guide through high school. I was in our interview this morning. I mentioned that it felt more like a partnership than a teacher-student relationship. I had the privilege, the honor of driving all over the country with her toward national speech tournaments. It's listening to all these other talks about all of these accomplishments. It just seems to me that what this school has done is create a basis of confidence that regardless of what it is that we do, that we just have that inner belief that we can do it, and that's pretty darn cool. But it's not just Miss Dersch. I mean, there's a ton of them. Mr. Stogsdill, who taught me how to read in high school. Like my parents taught me how to put words together and how to look at them in order, but I flunked a test in his class so bad because all I did was look at the words, and I didn't realize I had to read them for understanding until after I got that F. But his quizzes taught me that you better pay attention to what's on those pages. Mr. Stoll, I can still hear Mr. Stoll saying, and I use this to this day, "You don't know your asymptote from a hole in the graph?" Brilliant, right? Mr. Gibbons, Mrs. New Year, who taught me how to love books like A Tale of Two Cities. Mrs. Brooks, who told me that I was the hardest type of student to deal with because I was a smartass. Mr. Cook, Mrs. Reichelt, so the sophomore year we were there when they were building the new wing, so we were off in the early childhood center, and we didn't have phones where you could text your friends. So I started writing messages on the desk to whoever was going to sit in that class the next hour. And we had this whole thread going until she found out about it and told us to erase the whole thing. I thought it was brilliant, and I think we missed a big opportunity there. Mr. Mullins, who decided to only teach for like half a semester because we were so rowdy that he's like, "Here, just watch these videos." But his personality, I was able to do we did Don't Drink the Water as the fall play for my junior year, and my character was just a full-on impersonation of Mr. Mullins. So thank you, Mr. Mullins, for that. That was good, Oscar-worthy. Mr. Page, Mrs. Oliver, who introduced me to the idea of improvisation in the first place. Mr. Hoffman, who taught drama there. We're big village people, and that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. We are big believers that it takes a village. This is very different. You know what I mean. You get the idea. Yeah. And it really does. I tell you, that was the village, and the new village is sitting out there across aisle K right now. So that's my extended family sitting out there that wooed louder than Karen Johnson's group. There we are. Yeah. That's right, somebody knows how to work a crowd. So this is my extended family out here, but I also like to refer to them as Class of 83 Parkway West, Class of 1991 Parkway West, 93 Parkway West, 08 Parkway West, 12 Parkway West, who coincidentally was a teacher at Parkway West for a few years before she moved on to Utah State. 2015 Parkway West, 2016 Parkway West, two of those. And also Class of 19 and Class of 21, also known as my two boys. Yeah, so I better wrap up. I'm going to end with a question, a very specific question, actually specifically to Colin and Allie. Don't you think Class of 2045 has a nice ring to it? Thanks, everybody. This is amazing.
In Louisiana, did the paddles ever get used, or were they just a bluff?
Always.
Okay, we didn't know. The paddles did get used all the time in Louisiana. Okay. Rulers on the knuckles. We've heard that one before. Thanks, John. Congratulations. John Cruson, everybody. Our next inductee is John Lenack. John is a dynamic figure in the music and tech worlds, known for his innovative spirit and deep passion for the arts. From transforming digital music at Yahoo Music, to driving music strategy for Klug Interactive Synth Writers, John has been a game changer for both artists and for fans. He's helped launch countless iconic acts into the mainstream and has sold hundreds of millions of albums. During the pandemic, John used his expertise to produce over 150 virtual events, raising $33 million for charity, and he even teamed up with NASA to play David Bowie's music on Mars. John's career showcases his unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of music and technology. John is currently in LA and unable to be here, but he did provide us with a video.
I am honored to be inducted into the Parkway Hall of Fame. I have so many amazing memories from high school, and what stands out the most is the feeling of hope that I experienced during those pivotal years. Our hope for what the future might hold was palpable. You could feel hope in the classrooms, hallways, and at the parties as we began to define our paths forward. Most of the parties I went to had live music played by friends' bands, and being around that culture kickstarted my lifelong love of music. Since then, I've helped hundreds of musicians in my career. Each and every one of them, regardless if it was an unknown band I was working to break or huge rock stars flourishing in their careers, has had a glow of hope illuminating their presence. After high school, I formed bands and had a blast playing at local clubs. Then I started doing FM radio. Working as an FM DJ in the early 90s was life-changing. I was part of the rise of now massive artists like Nirvana, Radiohead, Pearl Jam, Beck, Alice in Chains, and so many more. Many times while running Yahoo Music, I reconnected with bands I helped to break in the 90s and picked up where we left off. I've learned that regardless of what style of music artists play or how big of a celebrity they are, they never lose the wide-eyed hope from when they were just starting out. I've been fortunate enough in my career to be able to amplify their passions, bringing their messages to millions of fans. When I worked with Taylor Swift, she came to my office and played for our team long before anybody knew who she was. A year later, she came back to play for the entire Yahoo staff and was the most gracious artist I've ever worked with. Back when I was attending Parkway West, I could never have dreamed that some of the bands that were me and my classmates' inspirations would end up becoming part of my life, or that my work would allow me to travel the world, speak at music and tech industry events, and help artists get more fans and make more money. Making people's dreams come true is incredibly rewarding. We all have hope. I see hope in all of the unknown musicians that became rock stars and the young CEOs of my startup clients. And I see that same hope in the eyes of my Berkeley students each semester. Hope fuels my career, and I'm so grateful to be able to work with so many awesome, like-minded people. Huge thanks to all of my Parkway West teachers, fellow students, Sandy, and everyone at the Parkway Alumni Association. And thank you for coming tonight and supporting all of us inductees. I am truly honored.
Accepting the award on John's behalf is his father, Dan. Dan, come on up. It's Bob Lenack rather than Dan, I'm sorry.
I'm glad I came to this thing because for the last 25 years, I never did do what my son did. So now I guess I figured that out. But I would want to say, as an observer in the audience, first off, I'm obviously very proud of my son to accept the award. But as an observer, the common theme, no matter who was awarded tonight, it's what are you doing for someone else? We have to lift up each other. And I think what's going on in today's world, it's just wonderful to know that, you know, we're not going to see any commercials tomorrow or any political ads. So that's good. But really, one thing that we can always do is lift someone else up. And I recall some years back when I was involved with the Stevens Ministry, in fact, the gentleman that we were visiting and helping along because he was in his last stage of Parkinson, he had a way of just helping others throughout his career, but he also had a way of helping people throughout his last leg, and even in the nursing home, he had a way to present what was their cause, what did they need, and he was actually instrumental in helping them get a higher wage. And when I went to his funeral at the end, on his card he had a quote, "Do something unsolicited and kind for someone every day." So, God bless.
Thank you, Bob. Very salient words, and congratulations to your son, John, on his induction into the Parkway Hall of Fame and on an amazing career. Our next inductee is Miriam Noas. Miriam's path to becoming a leading figure in hematology and oncology was shaped by a deeply personal experience, her brother's battle with leukemia. From her start at Parkway South, she pursued her medical ambitions through a rigorous 6-year BA/MD program and advanced training at Memorial Sloan Kettering and UCSF. Now an assistant professor of medicine at the University of Chicago, Noas has made significant strides in research on leukemia and bone marrow transplants, earning accolades such as the ASCO Young Investigator Award in 2020. Her work not only reflects her dedication to advancing medical science, but also honors the personal journey that inspired her. It is my pleasure and my honor to welcome to the Parkway Hall of Fame, Miriam Noas.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much to the Alumni Association for this incredible honor. I did not know this photo existed, so it's nice to see. I feel like I should start my remarks by saying something my husband tells me every single day, which is to lower my expectations. So lower your expectations. I haven't been alive as long as many of my distinguished peers. I don't have as much wisdom to share, but I do have some things to share tonight. So first and foremost, I really have to thank my parents. My parents are both Palestinian refugees who endured a lot to gain their education and to become physicians, and they made sure that education was central to my life and my brother's lives. And so I owe them everything for orienting me to that, and for all of their endless support throughout my medical education and training and all of those long years. I really could not have done it without you guys, so thank you. I'm also grateful to my wonderful husband, my incredible family who have joined me here today, including my niece Yasmin, who's currently a high school sophomore at Parkway West, and continues the legacy. So I was very fortunate to spend 12 years in public schools, in Parkway Public Schools. I started in the first grade in Hannah Woods and then graduated my senior year from Parkway South High School. And then I subsequently spent even more years than that in medical education and training, and I was very fortunate to train at some of the best medical institutions in this country. And I really mean it when I say that my years in Parkway, a public school district, prepared me as well as I think any place could have to succeed in my career. I really could not have asked for a better foundation, and because of my experiences in Parkway, my husband and I both feel very strongly that one day we want to send our kids to similarly strong public schools. I also want to say that besides being just an incredibly strong academic environment, Parkway provided me a really supportive and accepting place to grow up. I imagine that demographics have shifted a lot since I was young, but when I was in Hannah Woods, I was really probably the only child from my cultural and religious background. I was very obviously a minority. And yet my teachers and my classmates and the Parkway families really never made me feel that way. They were incredibly open and accepting and wanting to learn about differences, and I truly hope that kids at Parkway schools today can still say the same. I really hope my Parkway teachers and the staff know how much I appreciate them and truly what a difference they made in my life. Thank you so much again for this honor.
Congratulations, Miriam, and thanks for all you're doing for society. It's amazing. Our next inductee is a posthumous induction of Aaron O'Neill. It's our honor to recognize and remember the remarkable legacy of Aaron O'Neill, Parkway North class of 2004. He was more than just an exceptional athlete. He was a beacon of kindness and a source of inspiration for everyone around him. A four-sport athlete with a passion for football, Aaron shattered records and earned numerous accolades on the field. But beyond his athletic prowess, he was a friend to all, known for his genuine care and infectious positivity and just a gargantuan smile. His journey to Mizzou was one of determination and hard work. Okay, we're good? Okay. And though his time with us was tragically cut short, Aaron's legacy lives on. He has left a permanent mark on our community and the world of sports, reminding all of us of the power of dedication, compassion, and the impact one life can have. And his impact, by the way, I know because my son played football at Parkway North, his impact on the Parkway North football program is going to last forever. Please join me in honoring the memory of Aaron O'Neill as his father, Lonnie, accepts his induction into the Parkway Hall of Fame.
So good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Parkway Alumni Association for this opportunity to accept this award for my son, Aaron O'Neill's behalf. Thank you to my family, my extended family, and my village. You know who you are, and I'd like for you all to stand. Thank you all for all of your support throughout, through the good and troubling times. I never would have made it without each and every one of you. So enough about me. We are here to honor and celebrate Aaron O'Neill, AO to many, being inducted into the Parkway Alumni Association Hall of Fame, class of 2024. I am here to accept this award. Tuesday, April 1st, 1986. The scripture of the day reads, "My presence will go with you," Exodus 33:14. I rejoice in the presence of God always with me. There is never a time when God is not present. God is guiding me to the right decision in all areas of my life. God directs me into activities that lead to success and happiness. God is always with me. There is no place He is not present. In all environments, in my home, in my place of employment, and everywhere I travel, God's love protects me and keeps me from harm. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. I am safe and secure in God's eternal presence. In every experience and in every condition of my life, I know that God is present and active. I release to God all that concerns me. God provides the solution to every problem and fulfills every need. He loves, comforts, and sustains me in all that I do. I am fulfilled with joy, and at the same time, I find peace in eternal presence of God. April 1st. Wikipedia describes April Fool's Day as the following. April Fool's Day, or All Fool's Day, is an annual custom. On April 1st, consisting of practical jokes, hoaxes, jokesters often expose their actions by shouting April Fool's Day at the recipient. Mass media can be involved in these pranks, which may be revealed as such the following day. The custom of setting aside the day for playing harmless pranks upon one's neighbors has been relatively common in the world historically. Aaron O'Neill was born April 1st, 1986, New York, New York. And the April Fool was on the loose. Destined for greatness. It took some time for me to believe and be convinced that his birth was legitimate because it was April 1st. So I was not to be pranked, I was pranked. It did not take long for the April Fool to start acquiring the skill set, tools, and resources necessary to learn, play, and compete on and off the field. At a very young age, Aaron set his mind to doing, and he did. Whether it was me being awakened to a fully dressed 5-year-old Aaron in full hockey gear, including helmet, skates, ready to go outside to the ice skating rink across from our Anchorage, Alaska townhouse. He would stay out there until his hands were frostbitten, practicing, determined. This would be the beginning of many sporting activities which Aaron was attracted to: hockey, soccer, football, baseball, basketball. Not so good at. Anyway, and anything else that he could challenge you to, like who can ride their bike the fastest off the porch and down the steps. Aaron continued to grow into his own, but now he mastered the skill set of grace and charm. Fresh from the orthodontist office, braces off, $1 million smile, the April Fool is on the loose again. This time in pursuit of lifting the fallen, motivating the unmotivated, seeing the unseen, abling the disabled, winning hearts wherever he went. He loved the people, and the people loved him. He was one of the best human beings I ever met, who just happened to be my son. Aaron accomplished so much in so little time that still keeps all of us busy, continuing to spread the word about our legend. Pardon me a second. About our legend that walked the earth during our time. It is now our responsibility to pass the torch to educate and inform the younger generations about the legacy that he has left to carry into the future. So at this time, I would like to introduce you to some of the younger generation, starting with Aaron's nephew, my grandson, Aaron, who never got to meet his uncle. So Aaron never got to meet his uncle. His uncle passed away in July of 2005, and Aaron was born in September of 2005. So therefore, everything that Aaron knows, he has learned through his uncle's legacy. All of these other kids, it is our responsibility to educate them, to inform them with regard to Aaron's legacy so that they know who he is. So you have Aaron's nieces and nephews. You have Aaron's friends from extended family. Some of them have parts of Aaron's name. This is the future who will carry on Aaron's legacy. Tuesday, July the 12th, 2005. The scripture of the day reads the same as the scripture of the day read on April 1st, 1986. My presence will go with you, but this time it states, I will give you rest. Thank you all for the support that you have provided me and my family throughout these years. It is greatly appreciated. Hands off to our future.
Left us way too soon, but what an incredible legacy Aaron O'Neill leaves behind those youngsters. And we're so proud that we're able to preserve the legacy and have him for perpetuity as a member of the Parkway Hall of Fame. Our next honoree is Gene Solomon. Gene's journey from Parkway High School, class of 1965, was guided by an early passion for French and social studies that set the course for a remarkable career in education. With degrees in French, history, and elementary education, Solomon's teaching career was as dynamic as it was impactful. His commitment to global education took him from leading archaeological digs to studying and teaching in places like Israel, South Africa, Benin, and Ghana through prestigious Fulbright grants. Known for his innovative World Project and his role in the International Baccalaureate Program, Solomon has left a lasting impression on countries' students and countless students in those countries. Even in retirement, he continues to foster cultural exchange and support education, embodying the ideals of global citizenship and lifelong learning. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome to the Parkway Hall of Fame, Gene Solomon.
Just my luck that that's what I had to follow. First of all, I'd like to thank the Parkway Selection Committee for including me as a nominee for the Hall of Fame. It is a humbling experience to be among you. Reading your profiles makes it obvious why you have been selected. As a retired teacher, I would like to think that somewhere in your Parkway student life, a teacher or several teachers made a positive impression on you that might have propelled you into the professional life that you chose. For me, 4 Parkway teachers stand out. Melba James, biology, Robert Berg, band, John Williamson, U.S. history, and Larry Robinson, not the French hockey player, by the way, French teacher. They taught me the valuable lesson of being able to know their subject and being able to deliver that information to the students. It is something that I tried to do with my students as well, and I hope that I was able to do that. I thought about majoring in biology and music, but when I got to Southeast Missouri, circumstances turned out to be difficult, and I considered much a better possibility of being majoring in French and history. This would turn out to be my best choice. After graduation, I joined the Peace Corps, something that I had set my sights on as early thanks to President John Kennedy's announcement of its formation in the early 1960s. My life plan was to volunteer and then find a career in the State Department. That went nowhere quickly when I developed amoebic dysentery, losing 16 pounds in 2 weeks. It's a great weight loss diet, but I don't recommend it. At the time, Peace Corps had no medical facilities in the country, so after several weeks of suffering through that, I came home. Thankfully, I was able to very quickly after that get a job teaching elementary school in Wentzville, Missouri. Let's just say that that did not turn out extremely well. Part of it was being a first-year teacher. Part of it was being a first-year married person, and those two things didn't work too well together. Having been married added to that stress. The following year, I was hired in Decatur, Illinois, where I spent 5 years there, 4 of those in a school called Centennial Laboratory School, which was a non-graded, ungraded public school. It represented some of the best teaching that I was able to do. But again, circumstances intervened that made it well nigh impossible to continue there. I was able to move to Portland. Actually, I was forced to move to Portland to get divorced from my soon-to-be divorced wife. Again, good fortune followed what might have been a disaster. Within several weeks of arriving in Portland, I was hired in the Portland Public Schools, spending the first year in Jefferson High School, one of the largest, if not the largest, minority student populations in the entire state of Oregon. But part of my job was to teach elementary math to high schoolers. I did not have a math degree, so I had to leave rather quickly. 4 years after that, I taught in another elementary school, but finally landed a job at Cleveland High School, half French, half social studies, which fit me correctly. And I was there for the next 25 years of the 31 years that I spent in Portland. It was at Cleveland where everything that I wanted to do turned out extremely well. I could not have scripted a better school for myself. Great administrators, great students, great parent support, great colleagues. It was the perfect dream. Most of my teaching career was teaching global studies to freshmen, but also French and a few others. The last 10 years at Cleveland, we became part of the International Baccalaureate program, and I was able to teach 20th century world issues to seniors, which meant I got to see the kids coming and going. I was grateful for all of the mentors that I had, all of the cooperative students that for the vast majority of them did a lot of great work, were not a trouble in class. In the 25 years I was there, I think I broke up 2 fights. Again, it was a time that I was very proud of, especially when kids would come back to me afterwards and say, thank you for what you did in class, and more importantly, thank you for sharing the information of what you were doing when you were overseas. You made history come alive for us. It was much better than just reading out of a textbook, and we appreciated your personal knowledge. It made it real. I'd also like to thank again the Parkway Selection Committee for nominating me. I'd like to thank my sister Roberta for encouraging me to do this, and I would especially like to thank my life partner Ginger Hope, who had to put up with my complaints and gripes about each new freshman group of 9th graders who were horrible, they were snarky, they were obnoxious, and she would say, Gene, it's September, I've heard this before, be patient. She was always right. So I thank you, Ginger. It's been a pleasure. And again, I thank the committee for nominating me for this award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gene, and congratulations. Gene mentioned his sister Roberta, and you may recognize the last name of our next recipient. It's Roberta Solomon, Gene's younger sister. Roberta Solomon's voice has become a familiar presence across television and radio. A trailblazer in the industry, she was among the first women to transition from on-air personality to full-time voiceover work. Her career began at UMKC as a student announcer at KCUR-FM, followed by co-founding Voices, Inc., a Kansas City talent agency. Known for her role as the TV horror host Crematia Mortem on Creature Features, Roberta also gained prominence with spoof ads for ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live and ongoing comedy bits for The Late Late Show with James Corden. As a veteran voiceover artist, she has lent her talents to major networks like A&E, ESPN, and Nat Geo, and narrates documentaries for the Smithsonian Channel and others. Through her company, Voice Gal Inc., Roberta continues to be a sought-after voice for radio and television projects, showcasing her versatility and depth that she developed early in her career. Our next inductee into the Parkway Hall of Fame is Roberta Solomon.
Of course, I have to read off of a script. Thank you so much for the honor of being inducted into the Parkway Hall of Fame. It is really, really humbling to share the list with such inspiring people, including my brother, Gene. And from what I understand, we might be the first brother-sister duo inductees in the Hall of Fame, and it's really cool to be sharing this evening with him. The seeds of my career in radio and TV were definitely planted when I was a student at Parkway North. My storytelling love, my love of stories, was ignited by my English teacher, Larry Moseri. I walked into class one day and I was wearing this pair of baggy overalls and a plaid shirt, and he yelled out, "Miss Solomon, you look like a centerfold from Farmer's Almanac." And not long after that, for an assignment, I wrote a funny essay about his outburst, and I read it aloud in class, and the class laughed and they applauded, and Mr. Moseri gave me an A, and I thought, that's pretty cool. I took my love of stories on stage when one of my classmates encouraged me to audition for a production of Arsenic and Old Lace, directed then by our theater teacher, Vicki Holt. I was cast as the creepy Dr. Einstein, and years later, that character was part of the inspiration for my TV horror host alter ego, Cremation Mortem. The music teachers at Parkway North had a huge impact on my life. When our choral director, Almeda Horton, brought her fiancé, Jackson Berkey, on stage, who happened to be the pianist for Mannheim Steamroller, to accompany our choir at a Christmas concert, I realized that sharing music with an audience was something that I wanted to do the rest of my life. And when our band director, John Brophy, brought me onto the field to join the marching band as a Vicette, it hit me that I didn't have to be an athlete or even to know anything about sports to be fascinated by sports stories. And I've thought of that often as the studio voice of the Kansas City Chiefs radio network, especially when I get to tell stories like this.
Everyone loves a good underdog. Some teams wear it as a badge of honor. Some teams consider it a challenge to rise above. A glass ceiling made to shatter. For the Kansas City Chiefs, it's a warning. Beware of broken glass.
Ain't no better time to be great than today.
This is the Super Bowl.
I enrolled at UMKC. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I enrolled at UMKC as a biology major because I had fallen in love with science in Wayne Mosier's class at Parkway North. But in my sophomore year, I switched my major to theater and performed with several actors that I had met in high school. And one of them suggested that I apply for a student announcer job at the campus radio station. And when I opened the mic for the first time, I opened the door to my broadcast career and switched my major again to finally earn a BA in Communication Studies. It is safe to say that I would not have found the career that I love or discovered my purpose had it not been pointed in that direction by my teachers and my fellow students at Parkway North. I am grateful to all of them beyond words, and also so grateful for the opportunity to share the Hall of Fame with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roberta. And I don't know if everybody agrees with me in here, but good luck to your Chiefs again this year. There we go. Our next inductee is Mark Weber. Mark's entry into the world of auto racing photography began at the age of 16 when he took photos at a local race, unexpectedly becoming the event's sole photographer. This chance encounter set him on a path that spanned over 50 years, covering racetracks across North America and Europe. His iconic images have graced the pages of top automotive publications, and his dedication to the sport extended beyond photography to the racetrack, where he has competed in over 600 races and earned a place in the SCCA Hall of Fame. Weber's remarkable achievements in both photography and in racing reflect a profound dedication to the motorsports world. Mark couldn't be here tonight, but we do have this video.
Hello, everybody from Parkway School District. I appreciate going into the Hall of Fame. Sorry I can't make it tonight. I'm on the beach in the Bahamas sipping cocktails right now. But I want to tell you how much I really wanted to go to Parkway. My parents wanted me to go to Country Day. I didn't want to go with those snooty, stuck-up rich kids. So when I went in for an interview, and they asked me what my favorite TV show was, and I was supposed to say something very astute, like Meet the Press or something, I told them I watched Wrestling at the Chase. I think that sealed my deal, and I was ready to go to Parkway. I enjoyed it there. I met a lot of great people. I hope you have a good time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations, Mark. And accepting the award on Mark's behalf is his good friend, Tom Webb.
Mark said I didn't have to say anything, so I might not. Actually, we've been FaceTiming a little bit during this as he enjoys an umbrella drink on the beach with some young lady in the Bahamas. And he said, could you ask Sandy if we could put this off till next year, which will give him a year to actually do something outstanding and save lives, like some of the doctors, or do something like you did, doctor? Something terrific, but he's really good at making left turns. He can do that all day long, and very fast speed too. He's good with his right foot on the gas or the pedal for the brakes, and he can also take pictures with his right finger, and he's a really good guy. I've known Mark for, well, we went to high school starting in the 60s, 69, and graduated together in 71, and I can honestly say from a time in late May of 71, our senior year, Mark and I have been side by side, so close you wouldn't believe it. It's on page 127 of the yearbook. Webb and Weber right next to each other. And I can honestly tell you, I never met him in high school. The truth is, at that time, Parkway West had just gotten started, and we had such wonderful teachers that Mark would agree with, like two of the ladies that are here tonight, Mickey, and one of the best Jonesies you'd ever want to know, our PE teacher, Ruth Jones over there. Mark and I have good memories of those things. We actually met at one of our high school reunions. Now, our class is 71, and I think Dr. Burr, if he were here, would agree with us, was a class that didn't do a whole lot of great things. We were the only class that graduated that he ever heard of from Parkway that owed a debt to the next class. We didn't raise enough money to leave a bench or anything. We left a debt. In our defense, there was a war going on in Vietnam, and we were all wetting our pants whether we would go over next after our big brothers had gone over. And my big brother did go over, but he came home, so I was happy about that. So we had a little bit of distraction going on at Parkway West at the time. And our class was huge, over 630 kids, if I recall. which was a pretty darn big class. And I was only there from November of my junior year till graduation, so in 18 months I didn't meet everybody. So Mark and I did meet at probably our 25th reunion. Our class was really good at reunions. We had a 5th and a 10th and a 15th and a 25th, etc., to 50th, and we're planning a 55th. This is silly. I agree. That's too many times to get together and rehash Guess Who songs or Beatles Mania or whatever like that. So I would like to let you know Mark is a terrific guy, and he may or may not deserve this award in his words. And he said if Sandy would agree to let it go off to next year, he would like either the track team or, cross-country teammate of Mr. Cobalt, who was also a Parkway West graduate. That was his second choice. His first choice would be if John Crusoe can come up and make remarks for him, because you're very funny. And I'm not very funny or inspirational. So on behalf of Mark Weber, he also said I would be very good at mailing this to him in Florida. So I'll try that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Great job. To present the next award, I would like to invite Mark Berry to the stage. Mark?
I'm looking at you, Paul. So Paul Willard's going to be coming up here next. My name's Mark Berry. I've been on the Alumni Association board since 2018, elected president from 2020 to 2022, and I've loved every day of it. It's been pretty amazing. So it was about probably almost, 10 or 11 months ago. On the board, we have meetings every month at Parkway Central, and we're going over Hall of Fame inductees and people, and this name came up, like Paul Willard. Like, Paul Willard, like, I know that guy. Like, he's a pretty cool dude. Make a long story short, Paul's here tonight, and to take a couple minutes about Paul, I got to know Paul on and off the court in high school. My first experience with Paul was 1984, and we were playing basketball, and there was about 45, 50 kids that were trying out, and there was 11 that made it. And I got to know Paul pretty well, his work ethic, his teamwork, his passion, and his drive to succeed was pretty amazing, and that's how I got to know Paul. So, Paul Willard, from launching rockets to advancing robotic technology, Paul Willard's career reflects an unyielding drive for innovation. After graduating from Parkway North, he pursued aerospace engineering and manufacturing systems, eventually earning an executive MBA. Balancing his roles as an engineer and investor, Willard has made significant contributions to transformative companies like SpaceX, which is revolutionizing space travel, and Zipline, which has dramatically improved medical delivery systems in remote regions. His work with Glidance and making mobility more accessible for the blind, while his involvement with Monarch Tractors is pushing the boundaries of sustainable agriculture. Willard's dual impact as an engineer and investor underscores his commitment to pushing the boundaries of technology and making a tangible difference in the world. Please put your hands together for an amazing guy, Paul Willard.
Man, I feel like I picked the wrong night to go last. That's okay. Thank you to the Alumni Association for this amazing honor. In some ways, I don't feel like I deserve it. I was just part of a bunch of really great teams, and I feel so lucky to have been a part of so many amazing teams. Startups are teamwork. One person doesn't do any of them, far from. But that luck, you can't have luck unless you're in a position to take advantage of the luck and to enjoy the fruit of the luck. And I would not have been in that position were it not for the entire Parkway community, starting with the parents, my own in particular. Thanks, Mom. The teachers everywhere too. I mean, I'm obviously a technology person, and I forever owe, I wouldn't have been able to design airplanes if Jim Kramer hadn't have taught me geometry so well in 9th grade. It's pretty high-end geometry work that I got to do. Fortunate there. Up to Rick Baja, who, thank you, Rick. I literally would not be standing on this stage right now were it not for Rick. Both in terms of the classwork he helped me with back when, as well as putting me up for this. So thank you. Appreciate it. And then, of course, the other students, my community, the administrators. It took everybody to put me in a position to be lucky. I want to tell two stories. I'm a tech optimist. I'm very much a tech optimist, and I hope that when you leave, all of you will be a little bit more tech optimist because of the two stories I want to share. They're two of the more impactful ones from my work. And the first one, so I worked as an aerodynamics engineer for a decade at Boeing. And then I worked in 4 startups, and I made my first investment, 15 years into 4 startups. I made my first investment as an investor. And I also worked at Zipline. And Zipline delivers blood and medicine, initially in Africa. We're in about 5 countries in Africa. Now we're in 4 different continents and growing every day. But our launch was in Rwanda with the goal of getting blood, medicine, rabies vaccine, snake antivenom, things that have to get administered pretty quickly and that are expensive for a country, any country really, but especially a country like Rwanda, to stock all over the place with working refrigerators everywhere. And so instead we have 2 Zipline bases in Rwanda, and we can get 3 units of blood anywhere in Rwanda in about 40 minutes or less, which it turns out 3 units of blood, and I know this because our first plane could carry 2, but 3 units of blood is how many a doctor orders when a woman is bleeding to death immediately after delivering a baby. And so we sent 2 planes in the beginning, don't worry. And then I designed a bigger plane so that we can carry 3 units of blood now. But we've done over 1 million deliveries now. We saved hundreds of thousands of lives, more than half of them new mothers. So I'm so very happy about hundreds of thousands of kids. That get to grow up with their mothers. And it's a wonderful thing. So my first story was from that first investment. And it was 2016, 8 years ago when we launched in Rwanda. And we sent one of our first emergency deliveries out for a new mother. And she lived, we saved her life. And a week later, she showed up. She showed up at our delivery center. And she showed up with her baby. And she said, I'm here with my baby today because of you guys. Thank you. And it was the most amazing thing. And we didn't know what to do, but we took her on a tour. And we sort of showed her around and said we're so happy that we could help. And while she was there, a call came in for an emergency delivery to a mother. And we got to walk her over to push the button on the launcher, and she sent a delivery out to another mother. And the whole team, all over the world, were just like not a dry eye in the company that day, and many more like it. But that was when, like, a couple light bulbs in my head anyway. One is urgency. It's like we have these technologies we can apply to do good things with them. We need to do it sooner. The sooner we do it, the more good we can do. And the more, kids will grow up with their moms, and kids won't die of rabies after they get bit by a dog because you can get vaccine to them so fast that you get it in time. But so fast forward, the second thing that I learned out of that was that if you just focus on impact and being impactful to people, the financial side will take care of itself, and the investment will do well. And so I'm very fortunate that I get to pretty much not worry about the financial side. I worry about the impactful side, and if I find something that's big and impactful that I think has to exist in the world, and that I would be so honored to be a part of, then I can invest with the confidence that the financial end will take care of itself. We just need to push and get this technology out. And so I invest in a fusion company that's going to build a baby sun next year. Next year, they're going to launch their baby sun. And this is a basically limitless source of clean energy at lower cost than the energy that we're producing today for the world, which is great. I invested in a genetic computer that can interrogate the genes of cells and target exactly the cells you want for elimination, like cancer cells, for instance. And we're gonna have 3 of the 4 liver cancers covered in the testing that we start, again, next year. Next year. It's not that far away. And then we invested in one that, for the last story that I wanted to tell you, but I invested, my most recent investment actually, and I'm working with the team now, happily, amazing team, so lucky, again, to be a part of them, but they're building seeing eye dog robots for blind folks. And I didn't know this. Yeah, they're amazing, they really are. I didn't know this before, but there are 3 million legally blind people in the US. And you don't see them because there's only tens of thousands of dogs available to get them out independently. And so you're gonna see a lot more blind people on the streets in a few years. So the other story that I wanted to tell was actually about some pilot demonstrations that we did last week. Literally last week, we took one of our prototypes for the first time to a school for the blind. School for the blind is especially significant because if you're under 18, you're not even allowed to get a dog. So blind kids, the only way they can move around independently is with a cane. And canes are slow, you can only do so much with it, you can only get so far with it. And so the blind community, thankfully, is they know about us and they're looking forward to us, and we're working hard to try to get there as soon as we can. But so all the parents came out to the school that day too, to see the demos and see the kids doing the demos. And they can get this robot seeing eye dog, and they can learn to use it in about 10 seconds, and then they can walk around independently on their own. And to see these kids walking, like normal speed, walk independently on their own, ear to ear grin like you wouldn't believe, parents bawling on the side, us bawling on the other side, was the most incredible thing already. And then one kid said, "Hey, can I run?" And we said, "Yeah, run." And if his mom was crying before he ran, after he ran, she said that's the first time he's run in his life, independently. And it was just the most powerful thing. And so I'm honored to be up here, and I thank the Alumni Association again. I would give the credit to the teams that I've worked with because we all do the work together, but I hope that everybody in the room is a little bit more technology optimist than they were before because of some of the stories that I got so lucky to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and congratulations. Thanks for what you do for society. Any chance we could help out Major League umpires? Just wondering, as a sports guy. Welcome to the Parkway Hall of Fame. It's our pleasure to induct you in. Our next inductee is Allie Zirkle, a 1988 graduate of Parkway West. She grew up with a passion for the outdoors and for animals. The Longhorn graduate has spent the last 30-plus years in Alaska, where she relocated this passion to become one of the most accomplished and respected dog mushers in the world. Allie created her own professional dog training facility, and she has bred, raised, and trained Huskies for over 25 years there. Her training programs are fun, interactive. Her dog blog is hugely successful in both winning races and in community outreach. Allie's life is a testament to perseverance, courage, and an unwavering commitment to her team. She's being honored for the amazing successes that she has had in her incredibly challenging field, albeit it's a quite unique career as well. You're not familiar with sled dogs and dog mushing? Well, you're not alone. Allie sent a quick overview of life as an Alaskan dog musher, along with her acceptance speech.
Greetings all, Allie Zirkle here. So my Parkway years, they're defined by classes at West Junior, followed by amazing teenage years at Parkway West. You know, an individual myself cannot spend that many quality years at a community school system without soaking up the overall character and culture of the educators, my coaches, the guides, all those mentors that were always there for me. So, you know, 35, 40 years later, as I stand here and you are honoring me, I really want to take a step back and thank all those amazing folks for investing in me, because I am quite sure that my teenage self didn't ever know to thank all those people for their time, their effort, and their dedication. So thank you. It's obvious to me that my most grand successes are simply a tiny fragment of the numerous achievements of the collective Parkway family. So many amazing students have gone before and after me, so therefore there's many, many heartfelt stories of dreams attained, accomplishments reached, and of course, so many triumphs. I'm quite sure that no one at Parkway West knew what direction I would go, because I certainly didn't know. What I do know is that having a solid Parkway foundation under me, no matter what direction I chose, gave me more confidence and strength to pursue my dreams regardless of what direction they took me. Let me take you on a quick overview of my life as Allie Zirkle, champion dog musher, Iditarod racer, and community educator. Obviously, I'm here in Alaska and not presently at the ceremony. My sincerest apologies. I've come up with a very good excuse. Shout out to Parkway West, where I learned quite a few good excuses my senior year there. So my home is in Two Rivers, Alaska. The distance from my alma mater, Parkway West High, is only 2,600 miles, as the crow flies. But if we're indeed celebrating my unique character in dog mushing, then in reality, the distance from me to you would actually be 3,600 miles by road or trail. So that isn't that bad of a journey via car, maybe a week of hardcore driving, but by dog team, I'm telling you, traveling at my fastest Iditarod race speeds, that's a different story. It takes my dogs and me about, as the fastest, 8.5 days to race 1,000 miles. So doing some simple math, shout out to math class, it would take me about a month, 30 days, to mush my dog team from me to you. This is, of course, if we don't encounter too many speed-hindering blizzards or hazards along the way. My team would average about 8 to 10 miles an hour on good trails, but of course we need to rest. So now, several hurdles I see for making this trip is that as we head south from Alaska, we need to cross the international border into Canada. Rules, regulations, customs are one thing for a US citizen, but an entirely different ball of wax for 12 of my closest canine companions. So we'll have to wade through the paperwork. Shout out to government and civics class at Parkway West. Then we'll find our way down through the northwestern U.S. into the Midwest. Shout out to U.S. geography and history. I'm not sure that the weather conditions needed for this smooth trek via dog team, which is snow, ice, frozen creeks, and rivers, are actually going to line up for such an adventure. Thus and therefore, I and my 12 Huskies are not with you in person today. Nevertheless, thank you so much. Thank you for honoring me. Thank you for honoring the Parkway family. And thank you for the solid foundation in helping me build an amazing career as a dog musher here in the great state of Alaska.
It is my pleasure and honor to welcome Allie Zirkle to the Parkway Hall of Fame. Accepting the award on Allie's behalf is Ruth Jones. Ruth is a retired teacher, coach, and current member of the Parkway Alumni Association Board.
I first want to thank Sharon Farley, who got a lot of information for us on Allie and even helped us locate her at times, because in Alaska, she could be anywhere. Talking with Allie a couple of nights ago about having me receive this award for her, I said, "Well, what do you want me to say?" Laughingly, her answer was, "Up to you." Allie was a student of mine at Parkway West in physical education, and that's how we became acquainted. So I kind of want to add just a little bit more to what you've heard here. But as a student and athlete at West High, her life was volleyball, basketball, math, science. She was very deeply influenced by her coaches and teachers as they gave her the foundation for self-expression, learning, compassion, and a strong work ethic. Volleyball was her focus, as she received a scholarship from the University of Pennsylvania to be a starter on the team. I really think that Allie thought she was going to be a professional volleyball player, and she may have. But 2 weeks after graduating from West, she blew out her knee. And the 4 years at the University of Pennsylvania were kind of up and down. But one day, the track coach saw her stature and her work ethic and thought, I think I might like her on my team. So he talks with her, and she learned to throw the hammer and almost made it to the Olympics. So upon that graduation, back to West County and with her parents. So what next? Well, one day she was reading the newspaper and saw an article for a study program in biology in Alaska. Being in her 20s, away she went and settled in a small town north of the Arctic Circle and indicated to me, quote, "This is where I became an adult," end of quote. She bought 6 Alaskan Huskies, built a sled, explored the area, and fell in love with it. Her Huskies are whom she converses with and treats as humans. Now, she is married and converses with her husband. He is also a musher, and he originated from Arkansas. Her life for 25 to 30 years has been the Iditarod, a 9-day trail through the wilderness with her huskies. She truly lives in the moment with solitary, independent lifestyle. She usually finishes in the top 10 and finished as high as second. About 3 years ago, she decided to retire and unfortunately had an accident. She's okay, as traveling and her lifestyle are in a positive direction. Allie is tough and positive and says we all have issues. She is an Alaskan icon, a rock star. She works with the community, lectures, influences children, and does videos on her team called Husky Homeroom. This ordinary person who is extraordinary gives meaning to all of us. In the absence, Allie, I proudly and humbly accept this for you. Thank you.
You guys DVRing the Mizzou game? Hey, do you want to know? Okay, so it was 10-9 Mizzou heading into the fourth quarter. 10-9 heading into the fourth. Oklahoma takes the lead. Mizzou comes back. Tie game 23-23 with 22 seconds left. Mizzou sacks the Oklahoma quarterback, strip, fumble, touchdown with 22 seconds left. And Mizzou leads 30-23. So there you go. I now want to bring back to the stage Jan Mizuraka to introduce the very first honorary inductee into the Parkway Hall of Fame. Jan?
Okay. Well, it's near the end of an inspiring evening. Now we're going to have one more awardee. Dr. Keith Marty has been Parkway Superintendent since 2011. However, he's been a public school educator, put up with all these kids and teachers for over 50 years and loved it. And now he will also claim the title as the longest serving Parkway Superintendent. When I met Dr. Marty, we immediately connected as we discussed ways the district and the Alumni Association could work together, and he was immediately excited and welcoming our support and very interested. He worked quickly to engage us when starting new programs like Spark, the experiential learning program in Parkway, for those of you that aren't familiar. It started out with entrepreneurship. Now there are 8 different strands where the kids really get true life experiences. So that's grown. We helped with some mental health work for teachers to take workshops to identify children that needed a little more attention. And annually, I'm going to go into this a little quicker because we've had a long night. There's a long write-up in the back of your program, but Parkway schools are ranked among America's best and highest achieving high schools. During Dr. Marty's tenure, 4 additional schools have been named National Blue Ribbon Schools, and 18 schools, as well as the district, have been named State and Champion National Schools of Character. In 2017, the Parkway District was named a National District of Character. Parkway's also received the National Green Ribbon distinction for its efforts in energy conservation and use of efficient energy sources. Gotta say that slowly. Of course, during his tenure, Dr. Marty has received many awards. I'm not gonna go into the whole list in the program. To me, and it's kind of ironic today that we're in the McDonald Auditorium doing this, the award that has meant the most and really typifies and exemplifies Dr. Marty is the award he received last month called the Sandy McDonald Award. It's the Dedication to Character Award. They, and now we, are recognizing him for his leadership, his mentorship, his giving of time and dedication to character, and most importantly, the human connection. Dr. Marty's door is always open. He is one of the superintendents when I worked there, stopped by, talked. You didn't have to make an appointment. You didn't have to worry about chain of command. You could go in and talk. And I think he's that way with everyone through the district. And that specific element, human communication, as we've heard tonight, is what life is all about, and especially in education. So now to present the award is Mark Lincoln, the great connector.
Thanks, Jan. I just wanted to add a brief personal postscript to Jan's comments. Tell a little story. I had lunch with Keith back in the summer of 2022. It was a challenging time in public education. COVID was winding down, but there was lots of issues with public schools, lots of press and some of the surrounding communities and around the country. And Parkway had just placed a $250 million bond issue on the ballot. So as we sat down to lunch, I nervously asked him, "How are things going for you?" And Keith enthusiastically replied he was engaged across his staff with mentoring and leading and helping people succeed, and he believed the challenges allowed good people to shine. His focus was on the positive while acknowledging those challenges, and his optimism was well placed. For example, that bond issue passed with an outstanding 76% voter approval, which is incredible. When I was involved in creating the Alumni Association, I hoped that connecting alumni to Parkway would remind the community and teachers that every student has potential, and we're remembered more for how we develop that potential than for what we lack, and we lack a lot of things. We honored our alumni tonight for reaching their potential, and tonight we honor Keith for all he has done over 15 years to find the positive and the potential throughout Parkway. So please join us in congratulating Keith as the Parkway Alumni Association welcomes him as an honorary member of our Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. I know it's been a long evening, and I'm between you and getting home, but first of all, to have Jan and Mark present this is such a testament to the Parkway Alumni Association and to the district's partnership, because I finally call them mom and dad, right, of the Alumni Association. They have dedicated so much, and there are so many among us here tonight who have also dedicated so much to the Alumni Association. Let's give Mark, Jan, and the whole Alumni Association another round of applause. You know, when Dee Dee, my wife, and I have my wife Dee Dee and two of my children, Kayla and Brandon, are here tonight. When Dee Dee and I made the decision to come to Parkway in 2011, I had spent 36 years in Wisconsin, and I tell people, I just hope to make it a 5 years here. And the first year was tough, a lot of challenges. And you know, I never imagined I'd be here as long as I have been, but the reason I'm here for that long is something we've heard throughout the evening. And I think if you think about all the speeches and the things, comments people have made, you hear the word people and you hear the relationships. This place is special, and you know, Jan and others are symbols of that in their work, and the Alumni Association. But we have so many things to be thankful for in this district, and it's been my pleasure to be a part of it. We have a wonderful school board. Jeff Todd, Beth Feldman is here tonight, a former board president, and I've had the pleasure to work with boards in partnership, and again, around people and around students and around achievement and around what's good for kids. Several years ago, we decided to form a mental health task force well ahead of the pandemic. And when I presented a staffing plan to the board, Jeff and the board said, when I said, we're going to start in elementary, they said, no, you're not. You're going to start this K-12. Isn't that a great comment from a board, who sometimes says, wait, we can't do things. They really were pushing us, and that's been the symbol. What's good for kids has always been what's on the mind of our board, the team I work with, and this wonderful Alumni Association. Again, you heard so many comments tonight devoted to teachers, and Parkway has wonderful educators, wonderful staff members, people who have dedicated their whole careers here. And it's every year when we have our appreciation night to honor those individuals who have been recognized, the Alberta Award winners, our Teachers of the Year, people who are starting out in the career. And again, the support that the Alumni Association gives to that has just been marvelous. So again, a common element we've heard tonight is the reason I've stayed in Parkway as long as I have. And in many respects, I'm kind of scared to leave it because it's been such a wonderful place to grow and develop relationships. I truly love this district. I want to do my best to make sure that my successor understands the importance of this relationship we have with so many partners like the Alumni Association. And I'm going to do everything I can to encourage them to seek out and work strongly with this group, as well as our many, many partners in Parkway. Congratulations to all of you tonight who have been the recipients. You have so many great stories. It's just such a pleasure. My wife, Dee Dee, I never have to twist her arm to come to this event because of the stories we heard here tonight, and it's just such a pleasure. And I just hope that so many people that, those particularly that are still living, get the word of some of the comments that you made tonight about education and the wonderful things that you learned here in Parkway. So again, congratulations. It's been such a pleasure to be part. And I just have to say, when several of the members of the board came to an administrative meeting about a month ago, walked in on my administrative meeting. They weren't invited, but they came in with balloons. And I didn't know what they're doing there. And they told me that I was going to be the first recipient of an honorary recipient of the Hall of Fame. As Mark Berry found out, I was speechless, which is something that doesn't happen too often. And I just have to say, this is just a wonderful recognition, but it's really a recognition of the wonderful partnership that we've enjoyed, and I really appreciate this in that regard. And I thank the Parkway Alumni Association, and again, congratulations, and thank you for those of you who are here tonight in support of the recipients, but also of the Parkway School District. This is a wonderful district. It's going to continue to get better thanks to the wonderful traditions that we have set and the wonderful support of the Parkway Alumni Association. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Marty, and congratulations, and enjoy that retirement. We know that you will be, you got to have something to do, right? You're just going to be one of the, yeah, you've got to find something to do, right? Just one more time, all of the incredibly accomplished inductees tonight. How about a round of applause for Hall of Fame? And this event requires so much hard work and preparation. I show up and read bios, but that's what I do for a living. Well, I did until 2 weeks ago. But I'll be back. John, I think you and I probably are the only two. For all of the accomplished doctors and researchers and people that do wonderful things, you wouldn't be able to do what you do. We are in the half of the class that makes the top half possible. Right? But anyway, to those who were involved in making tonight's celebration possible, we appreciate your making this day special for everyone that was involved, and obviously Jan, and thanks to Sandy and Kennedy for their hard work. And now I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening to celebrate the best of Parkway. I hope you've been inspired by the stories of these graduates who find a way to partner with the Alumni Association to prepare today's students for the future. Thank you very much for being here. Have a great night and drive home safely.